Chapter 21. Fun with open-heart surgery. Pottery Barn saved the day, and no, that's not a line I ever thought I would use. Our ceramic friend exploded from a third-story window above the payday loan office. They hurled themselves onto Hergnir's face, clamping their legs around the giant's upper lip and wailing his nose with both of their face fists. Get off! Hergnir staggered, releasing TJ, who landed in an unmoving heap. Meanwhile, Mokerkopf struggled to get up, which must have been difficult, with Alex Fierro imprinted on his chest. From beneath his weight, Alex groaned. Relief washed over me. At least she was alive, and might stay that way for a few more seconds. Triage decision. I ran toward TJ, whose condition I wasn't so optimistic about. I knelt at his side, put my hands against his chest. I almost snatched my hand away because the damage I sensed was so bad. The trickle of red etched the corner of his mouth like he'd been drinking Tizer, but I knew it wasn't Tizer. Hang on, buddy, I muttered. I got you. I glanced over at Hergnir, who was still stumbling around trying to grab Pottery Barn off his face. So far, so good. At the other side of the square, Mokerkopf was peeling himself away from Alex and now stood over her, gurgling angrily and pounding his blobby fists together. Not so good. I yanked the runestone from my neck chain and summoned Sumerbrander. Jack, I yelled back. What? He yelled back. Defend Alex. What? But do it without actually fighting. What? Just keep the clay giant off of her. What? Distract him. Go! I was glad he didn't say what again, or I would have worried that my sword was going deaf. Jack flew over Mokerkopf, positioning himself between the clayman and Alex. Hey, buddy! Jack's runes pulsed up and down his blade like equalizer lights. You want to hear a story? A song? Want to dance? While Mokerkopf struggled to comprehend the strange hallucination he was having, I returned my attention to TJ. I put both hands against his sternum and summoned the power of Frey. Sunlight spread across the blue wool fibers of his jacket. Warmth sunk into his chest, knitting his broken ribs, mending his punctured lungs, unflattening several internal organs that did not function well when they were flattened. As my healing power flowed into Thomas Jefferson Jr., his memories backwashed into my mind. I saw his mother in a faded gingham dress, her hair prematurely gray, her face stretched thin from years of hard work and worry. She knelt in front of 10-year-old TJ, her hands tightly clasping his shoulders as if she were afraid he might blow away in a storm. Don't you ever point that at a white man, she scolded. Ma, it's just a stick, TJ said. I'm playing. You don't get to play, she snapped. You play shoot at a white man with a stick, he's gonna real shoot you back with a gun. I'm not losing another child, Thomas, you hear me? She shook him, trying to rattle the message into him. A different image. TJ as a teenager reading a flyer posted to a brick wall by the wharf. To colored men, freedom, protection, pay, and a call to military service. I could sense TJ's pulse racing. He had never been so excited. His hands itched to hold a rifle. He felt a calling, an undeniable impulse. Like those times he'd been challenged to fistfights in the alley behind his ma's tavern, this was a personal challenge, and he could not refuse it. I saw him at the hold of a Union ship, the seas pitching as his comrades threw up in buckets on either side of him. His friend, William H. Butler, groaned in misery. They bring out our people over on slave ships. They free us. They promise us to pay us to fight. Then they put us right back in the belly of a ship. But TJ held his rifle eagerly, his heart pumping with excitement. He was proud of his uniform, proud of those stars and stripes flapping on the mast somewhere over their heads. The Union had given him a real gun. They were paying him to shoot rebels, white men, who would most definitely kill him given a chance. He grinned in the dark. Then I saw him running across no man's land at the Battle of Fort Wagner, gun smoke rising like volcanic screams of the wounded. Oh, sorry, hold on. Gun smoke rising like volcanic gas all around him. The air was thick with sulfur and the screams of the wounded. But TJ stayed focused on his nemesis, Geoffrey Toussaint, who had dared call him out. TJ leveled his bayonet and charged. Exhilarated by the sudden fear in Toussaint's eyes, back in the present, TJ gasped. Behind his amber-rimmed glasses, his vision cleared. He croaked, "My left, your right." I dove to one side. I'll admit I didn't have time to distinguish left from right. I rolled onto my back as TJ raised his rifle and fired. Hugnir, now free of Pottery Barn's affections, loomed over us, his maul raised for one final strike. TJ's musket ball caught him in the right eye, snuffing out his sight. Wah! Hugnir dropped his weapon and sat hard in the middle of King's Square, crushing 2 park benches under his ample butt. In a nearby tree, Pottery Barn hung, broken and battered, their left leg dangling from a branch 10 feet above their head. And when I saw Hugnir's predicament, they grinded their head against their neck with a sound like laughter. Go! TJ snapped out of shock. Help Alex. I scrambled to my feet and ran. Jack was still trying to entertain Mokurkov, but his song and dance routine was wearing thin. That happens quickly with Jack. Mokurkov tried to swat him aside. The blade got stuck on the back of the clayman's sticky hand. Ugh! Jack complained. Let me go! Jack was a little obsessive about cleanliness. After lying at the bottom of the Charles River for 1,000 years, he wasn't a fan of mud. As Molterkopf stomped around, trying to dislodge the talking sword from his hand, I ran to Alex's side. She was spread-eagled, shellacked in clay from head to foot, groaning and twitching her fingers. I knew Alex didn't like my healing powers. She hated the idea of me peeking into her emotions and memories, which just happened automatically when I was as part of the process. But I decided her survival outweighed her right to privacy. I clamped my hand on her shoulder. Golden light seeped through my fingers. Warmth poured into Alex's body, working its way from her shoulder into her core. I steeled myself for more painful images. I was ready to face her awful father again and see how badly Alex had been bullied at school or how she'd been beaten up in homeless shelters. Instead, a single clear memory hit me. Nothing special, just breakfast at Cafe 19 in Valhalla. A quick snapshot of me, stupid Magnus Chase, the way Alex saw me. I was sitting across the table from her, grinning at something she'd just said. A little glob of bread was stuck between my front teeth. My hair was messy. I looked relaxed and happy and utterly dorky. I held Alex's gaze for a second too long and things got awkward. I blushed and looked away. That was her entire memory. I recalled that morning. I remembered thinking at the time, well, I've made a complete idiot of myself, as usual. But it had hardly been an earth-shaking event. So why is it at the top of Alex's memories? Why did I feel such a rush of satisfaction seeing my dorky self from Alex's perspective? Alex opened her eyes abruptly. She swatted her hand off my hand off her shoulder. Stop that! Sorry, my right, your left. I dove one way, Alex rolled the other. Mokurkov's fist, now free of Jack's blade, slammed into the slate pavement between us. I caught a glimpse of Jack, leaning in the doorway of the Boots Pharmacy, covered in mud and groaning like a dying soldier. He got me! He got me! The clayman rose, ready to kill us. Jack would be no help. Alex and I were not up to this fight. Then a pile of pottery hurled out of somewhere and landed in Molterkopf's back. Somehow Pottery Barn had extricated themselves from the tree. Despite their missing left leg, despite their right vase hand being cracked to shards, Pottery Barn went into ceramic berserker overdrive. They ripped into Molterkopf's back, gouging out chunks of wet clay as if excavating a collapsed well. Molterkopf stumbled. He tried to grab Pottery Barn, but his arms were too short. Then with a sucking pop, Pottery Barn pulled something from Molterkopf's chest cavity, and both warriors collapsed. Molterkopf steamed and began to melt. Pottery Barn rolled off their enemy carcass, their double faces turning toward Alex. Weakly, they lifted the thing they were holding. When I realized what it was, my garlic bagel breakfast threatened to come back up again. Pottery Barn was offering Alex the heart of their enemy, an actual heart muscle, much too big for a human. Maybe it had belonged to a horse or a cow. I decided I'd rather remain ignorant. Alex knelt by Pottery Barn's side. She placed her hand across the warriors' double foreheads. You did well, she said, her voice quavering. My Talactican ancestors will be proud of you. My grandfather would be proud. Most of all, I'm proud. The gold light flickered in the skull face's eye sockets, then went out. Pottery Barn's arms collapsed. Their pieces lost magical cohesion and fell apart. Alex allowed herself the space of 3 heartbeats to grieve. I could count them because the gross muscle between Pottery Barn's hands was still beating. Then she rose, clenched her fists, and turned toward Hugnir. The giant was not doing so well. He lay curled on his side, blind and gurgling in pain. TJ walked around him, using his bone steel bayonet to cut the giant's sinews. Hergnir's Achilles tendons were already severed, making his legs useless. TJ worked with cold, vicious efficiency to give the Jotun's arms the same treatment. Tears, tush, Alex swore, the anger draining from her face. Remind me never to duel Jefferson. We walked over to join him. TJ pressed the tip of the bayonet against the giant's chest. We won, Hergnir. Give us the location of Kvasir's mead, and I don't have to kill you. Hergnir cackled weakly, his teeth spattered with gray liquid, like the buckets of slip back at the pottery studio. Oh, but you do have to kill me, little energy, he croaked. It's part of the duel. Better than leaving me here, hobbled in agony. I could heal you, I offered. Hergnir curled his lip. How typical of a weak, pathetic Freyson. I welcome death. I will reform from an icy abyss and Gunengap. And on the day of Ragnarok, I will find you on the field and crack your skull between my teeth. Okay, then, TJ said. Death it is, but first to the location of Kvasir's mead. Heh, Hergnir gurgled more gray slip. Very well, it won't matter. You'll never get past the guards. Go to Flam. See the old Norse land you call Norway. Take the train. You'll see what you're after quick enough. Flam? I had a mental image of a tasty caramel dessert. Then I remembered that was flan. That's right, Hergnir said. Now kill me, son of Tyr. Go on, right in the heart, unless you are as weak-willed as your friend. Alex started to say, TJ. Wait, I muttered. Something was wrong. Hergnir's tone was too mocking, too eager, but I was slow to compute the problem. Before I could suggest we kill the giant some other way, TJ accepted Hergnir's final challenge. He jabbed the bayonet into the giant's chest. The point hit something inside with a hard clink. Ah! Hergnir's death gasp sounded almost smug. Hey, guys! Jack's weak voice called from over the pharmacy. Don't pierce his heart, okay? Stone Giant's heart explode. Alex's eyes widened. Hit the deck! Kablam! Shards of Hergnir sprayed near the square, breaking windows, destroying signs, and peppering brick walls. My ears rang. The air smelled of flint sparks. Where the giant Hergnir had lain, nothing remained but a smoking line of gravel. I seemed unhurt. Alex looked okay, but TJ knelt groaning with his hand cupped over his bleeding forehead. Let me see. I rushed to his side, but the damage wasn't as bad as I feared. A piece of shrapnel had embedded itself above his right eye, a triangular gray splinter, like a flint exclamation point. Get it out! He yelled. I tried, but as soon as I pulled, TJ howled in pain. I frowned. That made no medical sense. The shard couldn't be that deep. There wasn't even that much blood. Guys, Alex said, we have visitors. The locals were finally starting to come outside to check on the commotion, probably because Hergnir's exploding heart had shattered every window on the block. Can you walk? I asked TJ. Yeah, I think so. Then let's get you back to the ship. We'll heal you there. I helped him to his feet. Then we went to retrieve Jack, who was still moaning about being covered in mud. I put him back in runestone form, which did not help my level of exhaustion. Alex knelt next to the remnants of Pottery Barn. She picked up their detached head, cradling it like an abandoned infant. Then the three of us staggered back through York to find the big banana. I just hoped the water horses hadn't sunk it, along with our friends.